What's up, internet families and friends? I've just released my new song Monolith on the label FiXT Noir, and I've decided to break it down for you. So I'm gonna play a quick snippet while we roll the intro. Let's go.
Pop, pop, pop it like it.
Alright, so here we are in Ableton, and just before we start, I want to apologize if the session is a bit laggy. It's a really big project, and I had to turn off a bit of the post-processing to be able to record everything at the same time. So I apologize for that. This project was a bit special because I had a whole nother intro, but because of the vocals that I choose, I decided to just rework it. So I changed everything, but I kept the drop. And I wanted to do something really like exotic. So this is why I choose, instead of just a regular minor scale, I choose a more Middle Eastern scale. So it might sound a little bit Indian. So we have here the typical minor scale in E right here, but I choose this scale. So as you guys can hear, it's really those four notes who make the scale sound special. All right, great. So the song starts with just an atmosphere of some wind and some sand. And it's going on through the intro. I also have some strikes right here, which are from Ferrum, from the company Keep Forest. I love this company. They make some super great samples for the cinematic percussion. As you can see, I just have a quick EQ, remove the side information and the very low end. All right. That said, right here I have the I think it's a patch from Omnisphere actually. It's kind of a guitar. That with the plugs. It's probably just a synthesizer with a saw wave and a low pass filter. And as you can see, I've faded in the sound right here, just because this low plug has a lot of low information, as you can see right here. So by fading in the sound, this way I can make some space for the big percussion right here. Okay. I also have some flute. Right here, so those samples, I have this flute right here, this sitar or something like that, and another sitar right here. So those sounds might come a bit from everywhere. So maybe like Omnisphere, some from Splice, also from the East-West Silk library. So it's a bit from all over the place. Okay. And I also have the vocals that comes in with a low pass filter. I'm not gonna go through all this processing because I have another video on my channel which I've already showed to you, but it's basically just some EQ, compression, and some small reverb, long reverb, a ping pong delay, and more EQ and a gold fuzz right here. Oh, and let me squeeze that in just a little bit. Oh, that's why. Okay. I'm gonna make some quick adjustment. Awesome. All right. What do we have next? I have some industrial percussion right here. I think it's some loops from Damage, probably. And I filter them out with a low pass and high pass filter. Just some automation on the reverb also, and on the gain of the limiter. With the big percussion that comes in. And right here I've also faded in the strings. So usually on the strings right here, I only put some OTTs with a slight dry wet percentage and just got the very lows. And after that, I'm gonna process them together. So by using maybe a neutron with some settings, most of the time I'm gonna use the mix assistant or a preset and just tweak them from there to just fit my needs. So before the processing and after, it sounds louder, but it sounds a bit clearer, and there's less low information, probably because I wanted to make some space for other stuff. Okay. For this actually. Okay, as you can see right here, on the first hit, I've got all the lows. This is because I have another hit right here that has a lot of low information. And those tracks are actually a bunch of layers assembled together in an earlier version of the song. And I've also processed them a lot. And I think I'm gonna make a tutorial for how to process your cinematic percussion. So if you don't want to miss that out, you know what to do. Click the subscribe and notification bell. Thank you. All right. Here I have some effects. So it's kind of a screaming jet whine, I guess. I have some white noise. A classic. A quick riser. And also some claps right here. So are just a bit compressed. And I guess this is a reverse cymbal. Yeah. So I kept the vocals right here. And I've also added those vocals. So if you listen to this and the strings, they are following each other. And those vocals are actually compressed together, and they are affected by the smile right here. So they are really in the background of the mix. And they are compressed together. And I just like how it sounds with the strings. It's really in the background, but like I said, it really supports the strings with the melody. So right after that, I have this Bram. which is a layer of RAM. Yeah. So they don't have any processing on them, but together they are EQ'd. They are compressed with OTT. Sometimes you can also leave the depth at 100% and drop the upward at 0 and the downward in between maybe 10 and 20. And just turn down the output gain. This will reduce the effect of really having a like super wet OTT. So another EQ, some imager, just to make the low frequencies mono, a limiter, and yeah, that's it. What else do we have? Like a riser or a stinger. Nice. The riser for the build-up. So it's gonna be 3 layers. I've EQ'd them a bit. Sometimes in between like 2 to 6K. It's really harsh for the ears, so you can control that a bit. I have this build-up drum, which is this kick. Nothing fancy. This kick clap, which I reduce the low end. I've cut the low end actually. The snare, it's like a trappy snare. And I think I made some space in the kick for that that peak of the snare. So it might be right here. And some cymbals, so together. Also with the limiter. All right. Do we have something else? Oh, I have this sidechain going on while the build is happening. Oh, I have the strings also. I didn't show you those. So I removed the lows and just kept the high. Probably has some automation right here. So as you can see, the mono stereo right here. So I'm going to 100% of the stereo field, and then I just reduce it to maybe half. And also automation with the gain right here. It's a little bit less loud in this part. Okay. Right here. Do I have the original? That's gonna be funny. So we have the pre-drop.
Pop, pop, pop it like it.
So that was the original.
Pop, pop, pop it like it.
Let me turn that.
Pop, pop, pop it like it.
So that was the original, and I probably just, as you can see, I pan one to the left, one to the right. I've increased the delay on this one to create a hash effect, and probably just record that right here.
Pop, pop, pop it like it.
And once I had that over here,
Pop, pop, pop
oh,
it like it.
okay, that's the,
Pop, pop, pop it like it.
that's the processing. So I've recorded my voice, pitch it up 3 semitones, and then I've applied some EQ which has nothing on it. Great. Some OTT. I've tried a bunch of stuff, but ended up with the amp. Sorry. Another EQ. Some OTT. Yeah, that's the plugin that gives that grittiness. Is that digital?
Pop it like it. Pop
Is
it like it.
that bit crusher? What is that?
Pop it like.
Oh, I've decided to use a spring reverb. I never used that, but I wanted to give it a like old school feel. And just a limiter. So once I was happy, I just resampled that right here.
Pop it like it.
Cool. And applied a bit more processing. Okay, with the pre-drop, I also have this feel. So I think this is the snare from the build-up. I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. I have this breakbeat right here. And those toms right there. So some are from Damaged, and that's a sample from Cymatics. Nothing really special. And then we are at the drop.
Pop it like it.
All right, so in this part, I started with... I've tried a bunch of kick, but ended up with this one. And I think it's probably like one kick that I put a bunch of post-processing on it and resample. I've also done this snare. I love this snare. So it's this sample with that sample and a bunch of processing on them. So I've reduced the whiteness of the sound and just some EQ, some more EQ, and a limiter. Yeah, it's limited a lot. And I usually put a limiter on my drums just to catch some peaks. So I have some classic hi-hats. So those are more like trappy hi-hats. And I have those ones while we have the kids singing, which are more dubstep. Okay. So right here, I've used my bass from my song Crossfire. And as you can see, I've split all the basses on different tracks just to be able to process them differently. So sometimes I wanted to tame the high end or put a little bit more low end, because when you're modulating with a synthesizer, because of the the filters and all that's going on, sometimes the sound just needs some fine tuning. So this is why I've done that. And right here I have, this is another patch. That's my Fox bass, which I've used in a lot of my tracks also. I've used this little feel, which I love. And also those feels. And yeah, that's about it for the growls. And right here, I've done something a bit special. So I've used this sound, which I use a lot also in my song. And I put that right in the center. And then I've used some kids choir and some brass to fill out the space on the side. And as you can hear, the dun, 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 dun. So that note is the note from the Arabic scale that I was talking to you about. Okay, cool. And for the subs right here, oh, I have some hits right here. So just like a distorted hit. And so saw stab, a classic. And yeah, for the sub, I've used a combination of typical sine wave that follows the rhythm of the growl bass. So as you can see, I've matched this LFO to match the rhythm of this bass right here. And I've removed something right here. I'm not sure why. Oh, because there's a tom from the drums. Yeah. So while we have the growl bass, we have just a sine wave with some LFOs. And while we have the kids singing, we have an 808. So that just follow the kick. This one is pulsing and then so some small sting right here, some small reverb, reverse stuff, just a crowd. That's the typical fit out for a drop. And yeah, that's about it. I have some fills also in the drum. Like I love this sample right here with a bunch of reverb. So and also some claps. And then the drop is, there's a low pass somewhere. Right here. So I'm low passing the drop. So yeah, this low pass helps to bring out the next section. So I still have the same strikes right here. The same drums. The only thing that changed is the guitar right here. So I've layered two virtual instruments. So this one is the guitar from Contact, I think. And this Quanun, if I said that correctly, is from, I think it's from the Silk library from East West. So together. And without the processing. Sounds a bit muddy. And what do I have? So this one is kind of a it's a sculpture, but it's kind of a gold fuss, or what's the other one? Sooth. So it's a dynamic equalizer. Another EQ, a compressor. I've removed the exciter. Right here with the sub. I have some chimes right here. This is, oh, just some chant. This is pretty similar from the intro, but I kept a bit of the guitar in the build. Okay, and this part. So the drums are the same. I have this glass breaking. I have some sub going on. This one is really nasty. So this is probably just a sine wave with some white noise on it and with some tube distortion with an LFO automating the volume. I have the same one shot from the beginning. And this is, that's a growl I made. The noise right here. So it sounds really, really tiny, but with the sub it sounds super powerful. And if you want to, so I think this is just a sample, but if you want to make that, you can take an atmosphere and use erosion, or let me show you. You could use erosion. And so you could use erosion and play around with the different settings and width and frequency range and all of that. Or you could also use vocoder. I saw this trick from AU5 actually, so shout out AU5. So in the vocoder, instead of using external, we're going to use noise. And you can play around also with the different settings like the bands and especially this right here. So depending where you put this, you can have some different texture. So, of course, right now it's not loud enough and all of that, but yeah, try to use one of those two if you want to create those higher tones. Have some brass shot. With the sub that is following. Another sub hit. This is also a preset of mine. And I've also automated the reverb. So this way the reverb is like sucking you in the next kick. So right here I have some vocal chop. I think those are from the first vocal samples I wanted to use at the beginning. Here I've used some percussion. And what gives them that kind of wet feeling is those disperser right here. So same settings, just copy. With OTT and an EQ. I've also used this drone. And I think this is from another session that I didn't end up using them. And it's just some atmosphere with some processing. And I probably cut the high end. Yeah. As you can see, it's really aiming in the lower spectrum. With some automation on the pitch bend at the end. What is that? Oh, some glitch. Nice. Another one shot. Another one shot. Oh yeah, I also have this eagle right here. So some reverse glass. I think right here. Let me see. Yeah, so I've used another variation of the same noise. So this one has a bit of processing on it, and it's more in the center, just to leave some space for this. That's a patch I made in Serum. Don't ask me how. I can't remember how I did that. I only messed with like some probably the LFO on the pitch modulation and FMing to waveform. Another one shot. And finally at the end, I just brought back the knife flute from the start with the guitar, the strikes, and one brown. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, I've routed my sub and my top layers of my drop in 2 bus. Next, I've put some limiter on them. And then I routed them in another bus just to squash them together. Those are supposed to be on, by the way. I just had to remove them to record this video. And then I sent everything in the sidechain group, which has a gold fuzz and some limiters, some quick EQ, and those are all sidechaining process. And on the master, I just turned down the gain -6. Put a quick EQ, make sure it's on linear phase. If you cut in the very low end, so I cut everything below 20 and everything above 20K. And also on the sides at around 100. And I've also removed some mid information by 1 decibel just to make the low and the high end a bit stronger. So thank you for joining me today. If you guys want to stream Monolith, it's on your favorite platform right now. So Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Music, all of that's good jazz. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.